Welcome back! In lieu of the recent patriotic holiday, I have decided to tell my coming to America story. And yes, I put the Union Jack quilt that my mother recently made me behind me on purpose because I love it and I think it's hilarious. And I also wanted to show off this amazing Union Jack quilt that my mother made me. I moved to America when I was 10 years old. I was almost 11. My family decided to move as an adventure. It was an adventure, I don't know why I did the air quotes. And my dad got a student visa and went to BYU Provo for 2 years to do a master's. So I'm pretty sure my dad has like 5 degrees now. Yeah, he's pretty cool. Anyway, we lived in Linden, Utah for those 2 years, and then they decided to stay after a while. I don't know their thought process. I was not in on it because I was 10 years old. My very first memories of coming to America were of going to elementary school, and I had already completed 5th grade in England because they're a year ahead in school there. And so I was like, really? I have to do 5th grade again? But we all thought it would be better to stick with my age group, which I'm glad we did that. So we went to Rocky Mountain Elementary School. I remember dropping my little brother off at probably pre-K or kindergarten. He was only 4. And then my mom walked me around the back of the school, and there were all of these kids waiting in line to get into the school. We found the line for me to be lined up in, and she basically turned to these 2 girls, and I remember exactly what they looked like. Could not tell you their names. And she asked them, hey, if my daughter doesn't make any friends, will you be her friend? And I'm pretty sure they just kind of stared at her and were like, okay. They were never my friends, by the way. But yeah, and then my mom just walked away. But that's where I met my co-author, Talia. She was my best friend, and yeah, but I feel like I definitely made lots of other friends, especially because I was the British girl who had a fun accent and everybody wanted to ask me to say words. That's a very exaggerated British accent. I didn't talk like that. I talked more like a Manchester accent, which I'm not gonna do because I'm probably gonna butcher it. So everybody would always be like, say hippopotamus, or watermelon, or whatever. So I remember a lot of that in elementary school. One of the first like weird American things that I remember was we were sitting at lunch and we were going around telling everybody our favorite sandwiches, and I said, no, somebody said their favorite sandwich was peanut butter and jelly. And in England, jelly is Jell-O, right? So I legitimately thought that you guys put Jell-O on your sandwiches, like peanut butter and like cubes of Jell-O or something in your sandwiches. And I was like, that's weird, but okay. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't for a while that I realized that's not what y'all were talking about. Just for fun, a couple of years ago, I actually tried a peanut butter and Jell-O sandwich. Wasn't bad. Was not bad. It definitely was more effort than it was worth to create one, but yeah. I also believe that I had never seen a drinking fountain before coming to elementary school. And I was like, what is this weird contraption? Cool. I'm sure that they had them in England, but I guess I just never really like experienced one before because they're not that big of a deal there, or they weren't at the time. Also, I had a lot of, do you know Harry Potter? Do you know those people who also live in England? No. I know it's a small country, but no. why would I know them? All of you probably notice, and I may have mentioned, my accent is gone. I don't have an English accent anymore. Not very true. I have an American accent with Americans, and I have a British accent with British people. British people would say, "Oh, you sound so American." And then American people would contradict that and be like, "Whoa, no way, she sounds so British." But yeah, when I'm at home or talking to my parents or siblings, sometimes I'll have a British accent. One of my husband's favorite stories is while we were dating, we went to see the drive-in movie Hobbs and Shaw, and I have zero recollection of this because switching accents is completely subconscious for me. I have zero control over it. I can do a British accent from an American accent and vice versa, but it feels forced to me, and it probably doesn't sound super authentic because I'm like overthinking it and trying to make it sound super British. I don't try to do it a lot because I don't like it really. Just whatever, natural. Anyway, but we were talking because it was a drive-in, so you can talk. I have zero recollection of this. But every time that Jason Statham was on screen, I was talking in my English accent to my husband, and then every time it switched to The Rock or somebody else, I would talk in my American accent. And apparently it happened mid-sentence, all throughout the movie. And I had no idea that it was happening. A thing about my accent, I really did not like, and I still do not like, when people ask me to do a British accent or like say words or something like that. It like puts me on a spot in a really awkward way and just makes me uncomfortable, and it makes me feel like I'm performing, and I'd get like a kind of stage fright, and I didn't love it. So I think that I subconsciously just like tried to get rid of it so people would stop bugging me. So I think by the time I was in like 8th or 9th grade, it was almost completely gone. So yes, I was young and naive about so many things when I came to America. And growing up and looking back has kind of made me aware of lots of things that I did not appreciate as an immigrant. And America is great for so many reasons, and America is totally not great for so many reasons. I'm sure everybody knows this. Even if y'all don't want to admit it, I think that everybody knows this. America it's not the greatest country in the world. I don't think anybody could pick the greatest country in the world, but like the fact that you guys had so much like forced patriotism on children and stuff really bugged me. Like saying the freaking Pledge of Allegiance all the time. I wouldn't say it. I didn't say the Pledge of Allegiance until I became an American citizen, which wasn't until I think it was maybe 2018 or 2019, one of those. I never said the Pledge of Allegiance. I thought it was weird that y'all send the Pledge of Allegiance all the time, and like your guys' national anthem is so long. It's a great national anthem. It's really cool, but it's really long. I mean, America is a great place to be. It is absolutely gorgeous. I think that's the number one thing I love about America is y'all are right in your songs. It is stunning. You have like almost every biome imaginable. I mean, including Hawaii and Alaska, you probably do. Mountains and oceans and forests and plains and deserts and it's gorgeous. So much of it is amazing. People are very nice. Most of the people are very nice. It's fun. And you guys like to celebrate and you like to party, which is fun. Everybody likes that about y'all, I think. I don't know why I'm saying y'all so much, but I am. Something that I didn't love, I'm like not organized, I'm just talking, so apologies for the non-organization of this little ramble. Something I didn't love was that lots of people, when I was growing up, and especially when I was a little older, would try to tell me that I'm not British anymore, I'm American. I think they tied it a lot to the fact that I didn't have an accent anymore, but that always really rubbed me the wrong way. These people being like, you're not English anymore, you're American. Even when I wasn't an American citizen yet. Okay, well, I was born in England, I was raised in England, and I'm still a British citizen, but you're trying to tell me that just because I have an American accent, I'm American. And the fact, this is something that I have just like recently, the fact that people probably don't do that to a lot of Latinos or Asians is very just kind of like, there's definitely still racism where people probably don't think there's racism anymore, but I don't know. Since I'm a very white looking girl, everyone was far too happy to try and like, no, you're American now. You're not British. Leave that behind. You're American now. Which was like the opposite. It was like too far in the opposite direction of like welcoming immigrants into your country, which y'all should be doing because America was built on immigrants. Why are you trying to stop that? Just saying. Just the fact that people would tell me that, like, I wasn't English anymore, like, just trying to like squash the culture that I came from out of me. And I'm not trying to like, if any of you were like, oh my gosh, I totally told her that, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not trying to like call anybody out or make anybody feel terrible about themselves. Just like making you aware, just like general people aware, like, no, I still love my culture and I still very much identify as English, even though I haven't lived there for most of my life now. I was still raised by English parents. I still visit all the time. I still have just been raised with so many of the like ideals of a British person. Stop telling people that, oh, you're not from that place anymore, you're from America, embrace it. Leave me alone. Anyway, yes. So those are kind of like my biggest things when I think of like how I feel about America and my coming to America experience and becoming American. It really bugs me. I just think it's so stupid when like freaking every 4th of July someone is like, ha! Suck it, Britain! Like, we don't think twice about you guys anymore. You are so freaking hung up on like the whole thing. It's like, I moved to America and I had no idea America used to be part of England because England has so much history. We don't even get to talking about America until like high school or whatever. So I hadn't gotten there yet, and I come to America and everyone's like, are you guys still mad that we had a Revolutionary War and we left Great Britain? You guys are still mad about that, right? And it's like, no, we don't give a crap. I didn't even know that was a thing. Nobody talks about that anymore. I think that is hilarious, but it also bugs me when people are like, suck it, we beat you, you guys suck. And I'm just like, really? Okay, cool. Leave me alone. I'm sure there are more things that I will think of later on, but for right now, those are the main things that I recall about my American experience. I mean, I've been here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18 years. So I've definitely lived in America longer than England. I think I would say that America was more my home now than England is, but I mean, England still holds a very, very large, special place in my heart. I will always consider England a second home. I love it so much. My grandparents, all of my aunts, uncles, and cousins live there. We still try to travel back there often. I am still I'm probably more patriotic towards the United Kingdom than towards America, even though I don't understand its politics or anything really that well. To be fair, I don't understand American politics really that well, because I wasn't allowed to vote until 2018 or 19. In the Olympics, I always root for the United Kingdom first, Canada second, and then America. That's how I feel. Hopefully this was educational, and if not, just semi-entertaining. Let me know if any of you all feel the same way. If you're immigrants and you're like, oh yeah, I've had that same experience. Or if you've had a completely different experience, I would like to know. Sorry if I said anything offensive to anyone. I didn't mean to be. This is a great country. Happy belated Independence Day, America, which my family never celebrated. We also never celebrated Thanksgiving. Just the American holidays, because we're like, we don't really care. We'll go camping instead. I really love Independence Day, the movie. It's a great movie.